Welcome back to This Week in Louisiana Politics. So let's talk roads, bridges, and highways, specifically here in Louisiana. In spring, our legislators will take on some transportation legislation. Now, some of this will be just simply reauthorization of ongoing transportation bills. There is some legislation called the FAST Act that we wanted to talk about. It's designed to do just that. It's designed to improve the roads and highways in Louisiana. It's an acronym. It stands for Fixing America's Surface Transportation. You can always count on the government to come up with a good acronym. This legislation requires reauthorization from our lawmakers. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this will happen in the coming months. Perhaps no one in our Louisiana delegation has thought about this more than Congressman Garret Graves. He's the ranking member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He joins us now via Zoom, actually on Louisiana roads and highways and bridges. Congressman, thanks for coming on. While you're in the car, let's go ahead and just ask, how's the ride? How's it going out there?
It's a little bumpy, but otherwise it's not too bad this morning.
Now, Congressman, you've offered an amendment to the FAST Act, and you say this will specifically help Louisiana. How so?
Well, we've offered a number of amendments, and the idea, Fred, is that what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we're focusing the limited transportation dollars that are available on the best return on investment. We've seen for way too long where these dollars have been siphoned off for non-core transportation type projects, everything from funding studies in offices and bureaucrats to funding environmental type projects that, while they may have merit, it's not the purpose of taking these dollars and diverting them to non-transportation needs. We also are working on trying to set funds aside for a new bridge across the Mississippi River in the Capital Region. So a number of things we're working on in this legislation, but this is really key because, as you know, we're building projects today that people conceived in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we've really got to get ahead.
And we've heard lots of talk before about a new Mississippi River bridge. How close are you on this?
Well, the good news is that we've got broad support for the concept. The bad news is that they still haven't even come up with an alignment of the bridge, meaning where is it going to cross from where to where on the east and the west sides, East Baton Rouge to West Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge to Iberville. And so that's the problem. So we're working, and we have been trying to set funds aside to get this project going, but until there's an actual project, it does make it hard. So that's the biggest challenge. We've offered to change the law to expedite this process they go through to choose the alignment of the bridge, but so far continuing to wait on that, what has been a slow process.
You recently had a meeting with the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. How did that meeting go? Are you encouraged?
Well, you know, the good news is that I think that he's thinking pretty innovatively in regard to how we're going to take on this next iteration of our transportation legislation. And we've had some good discussions about that. Yesterday was the second one that I've had with him about it. The concerns that I have is that it seems that they have begun to sort of hijack our transportation programs in exchange for basically things like climate change, racial equality, and environmental justice. And while those things may have merit, it really is just out of context. You're using the wrong tools, and I think that what it does is it ends up undermining the very criteria that you use to determine where you get best return on investment for transportation projects, and it manipulates the process in a way where you're using less sort of quantifiable criteria, and I think it's going to end up really just distorting the priorities for our region. We need to focus on those things with other agencies, other categories, and allow our transportation program to focus on addressing traffic solutions.
And we've heard this complaint before. You're a Republican. I'm assuming that you're talking about the Democrats. This is the wish list complaint. We've heard about it in the stimulus bill, the coronavirus stimulus bill. Is this something you guys, what would you say to your constituents who are saying, look, guys, just work this out. We need better roads and bridges?
Well, and that's what we're focused on is solutions at the end of the day. And I believe that many of these issues can be addressed by sitting down and, most importantly, just following the law. The law in this case, it does not require and doesn't even address those sorts of things that are not within the core competencies of a transportation program. So I do think if we sit down, we can ultimately make some progress here and work this out. But really frustrating to see them come in and make unilateral decisions, sort of hijacking a transportation program to achieve some of their political objectives when there are other programs that are much better suited to address those issues.
And I think your argument is, back to your amendment to the FAST Act, your argument is you've already floated this before, and it's resulted in some action, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, we've been able to secure nearly $1 billion in extra transportation funds. As you're well aware, we've secured at one point the top grant in the United States. In another year, I think it was the third highest. We've been able to get a new lane on I-12. PQ exit is being constructed right now. The new terrace exit, working on that siphoning of traffic or funneling of traffic around the Washington Street exit. We've got all sorts of projects that are underway and progress being made. But this bridge really is kind of the anchor foundation to the needs in our community.
And this next question is outside your committee assignment, but I have to ask, do better roads and bridges mean lower insurance rates for Louisianans? That's something that's on everybody's mind these days.
It's a great question, and there is a nexus there, because if you can help provide safer roads, if you can help reduce traffic and bottlenecks, it does result in lower insurance rates. And as you're aware, we have some of the highest rates in America. And it's something that's got to be fixed. It's really hard to lure large companies and projects here whenever we have quality of life issues like that just make it really expensive.
All right, Congressman Graves, we do want to point out he's not actually driving while doing this interview. He's in the passenger seat, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Otherwise, I was just going to suggest to you that you use your blinker, check your blind spots, and don't drive angry. Yeah, there's the driver. We saw the driver. Good deal. Don't drive angry, Congressman Graves.
Hey, thanks. Take care.
All right. Thank you, sir.